Hello there. Welcome to Just the Discs. We talk about Blu-rays here. My name's Brian, and today I'd like to talk to you about some recent Vinegar Syndrome partner label releases. And I'm going to kick it off with the pièce de résistance, the big gangbuster one of the group for me, which is Fun City Edition's version of Jim McBride's 1983 remake of Breathless. Of course, originally made by the great Jean-Luc Godard, part of the French New Wave. I want to say 1959 or 1960, and an incredibly influential film that just really knocked a lot of people out when they saw it, and continues to do so to this day. And so this remake was, for a long time, I feel like, certainly in its infancy when it was being developed, and or when it was announced, I know that there were some film fans that were like, crying heresy, that, to remake that film was just completely out of line. Like, you couldn't do that. It was a masterpiece. You couldn't touch it. But Jim McBride, a really interesting director, filmmaker in his own right, gave it a shot. He had made a film called David Holzman's Diary with his friend L.M. Kit Carson, and that movie is sort of one of the first mockumentary films about a guy filming himself with I think 16 millimeter camera, and sort of recording his thoughts and his daily life, and it kind of goes south at some point. But it is a fascinating movie, a movie that I'm a very big fan of, that has a nice overseas Blu-ray. I don't know if there's been one in the States, but don't quote me on that. Regardless, it's a great film to check out. And Breathless first got on my radar because it was on a list of Quentin Tarantino's favorite films circa 1994, around the Pulp Fiction years. And you could see what he loved about it. In fact, there's a video online you can find of him talking about all the ways that he loves or loved Breathless. I assume he still does to some degree, but I know, tastes change over time, and so who knows. But the iconography of Richard Gere's character and the adjustments that were made, changes to the adaptation of this film, making it basically a Los Angeles film, obviously, as opposed to Paris, and making the lead character, as opposed to being obsessed cinematically with Humphrey Bogart, the Richard Gere character in this film is obsessed with Jerry Lee Lewis and the Silver Surfer comic book. Two things that I think Tarantino is a big fan of. But there's also a lot of really interesting filmmaking stuff in here, and, fake process shots that you can see that he's borrowing from in something like Kill Bill, when the bride is driving. There's a certain kind of shot in here that's really cool, shot that really, you're aware you're watching a movie, but it's stylish in this super cool way. And the movie just has this incredible energy, and a lot of that is derived from and originates with the performance by Richard Gere. He's a kind of a gambler type and gets himself in trouble with the law and heads to Los Angeles. Well, first he's heading to Los Angeles, and then he gets himself, I can't remember how it works, but he's going to see his girlfriend, played by Valerie Kaprisky, whose performance is interesting in the film. She's a little uneven in spots, but moreover, I think you really buy that the Gere character is obsessed with her and wants to be with her, and that she would respond to his, very extemporaneous energy, just very in the moment, very like, let's do this now, I'm going to sing now. He's just such a really interesting character that's, very much living his life moment by moment. And so he's just really infectious in that way. And I will say the first time I watched this movie, I think I've seen it 3 or 4 times now. And the first time I was like, it's okay. I don't know how I feel about it. I maybe was too close to, having seen Breathless. This was around the time I would be seeing Breathless for the first time in some film classes in college, and maybe had too much reverence for it. And not to say that you can have too much or too little. I still have a lot of reverence for it. I still really like the Godard film. But this one has really moved up to a point where I may enjoy it more. And this is a huge release for Fun City. They continue to do incredible work in terms of the curation of the films and then the actual package that you're getting. I'll go through that in a second. But this is another movie that could easily have been a Criterion release, like Morver and Collar, like some of the other stuff that Fun City has put out. It's a missed opportunity for Criterion, but a win for us because I really feel like Fun City is doing better than Criterion at the moment. I feel like there's a great deal that goes into each release, and it's they are, for me, Criterion level stuff, and this is a absolutely Criterion level and above release. This is great stuff. Really wonderful release of an underrated but slowly coming around kind of film. I feel like people are finally starting to, it's not that they haven't loved it for years, but I feel like it's getting back into the film conversation again as something that people need to consider as, I think, a classic in its own right, So a really great choice and a really great release. So this is the slipcover version of it. Now, this is completely sold out at Vinegar Syndrome right now. This may be the last Fun City Editions release that will go out through the partner labels and OCN Vinegar Syndrome. I think they may have finally fully moved over to MVD as a distributor, but don't quote me on that. I don't have all the news. I don't know everything about what's happening. That's just a guess, an educated guess on my part. But this is a heck of a great way to go out. So you can still get this non-slipcover version of this movie. There aren't that many copies left, so I would recommend getting over to Vinegar Syndrome and snagging one if you haven't, because it's a really epically great movie. So let's see here. Special features. So new 2K restoration from its 35mm inner positive. This movie had come out on Blu-ray previously from Shout Factory. This looks better, for sure, 100%. So that alone should do it for you, but that Shout Factory disc had no features, and this is full of them. Some great stuff. Making a Breathless, a newly filmed video interview with director Jim McBride, which is about 30 minutes, which is great. You get to hear a whole bunch of stuff about how the movie came to be. McBride hearing that he needed to attach himself to a known property to get his foot in the door making films, and him reaching out to I think Godard's daughter via his daughter, getting the rights to remake this for very little money at all, and then the long process of developing the movie and initially getting interest from Robert De Niro, and then that sort of fading away. There's a great story about how McBride went to film school with both Martin Scorsese and Paul Schrader, and he would have to call in favors from both of them to finally get this going. And those favors were, relatively small. One was asking Scorsese to tell De Niro to just say no because he was on the fence about it. There's this whole thing about he kept contacting De Niro, and De Niro kept saying, call me in a couple weeks, call me in a month, and just pushing him off and not being able to make up his mind. And finally got De Niro to say no, and Universal, who had set the project up at the time, dropped it immediately after De Niro left. And Richard Gere was proposed, but that was not somebody that Kit Carson had wanted necessarily. And there's this story about Michael Mann picking up the project for a little while and rewriting the script, and then eventually dropping out because one of his other films got made. And then Gere wasn't sure about Kit Carson because he would be a very young director, and eventually them kind of finding their way into the project via Jerry Lee Lewis. And so it's really, really great interview, really good stuff. And there's tons of stuff with him here. There's a new introduction by Jim McBride, deleted scenes with his commentary, the alternate ending with his commentary, which is really, really cool to have on this disc. I highly recommend checking out. I like the ending as it stands, but seeing the footage and hearing Jim McBride talk about it makes this a really worthwhile addition. A great newly recorded audio commentary by writer and critic Glenn Kenny is here. An isolated music track as well. Look at that. And then a booklet with new essays by DJ and writer Margaret Barton Fumo and film programmer Christina Cacioppo. Excuse me. So a nice little booklet inside and the disc. And yeah, this is just a really great Fun City release. Another one of their, many gems that they've cranked out. Another reason why Fun City continues to be one of my favorite labels out there, 100%. Can't wait to see the Party Girl disc. I'll definitely talk about that here when I get it. But I also can't wait for more stuff they have coming in the future. I know it's going to get better if that's possible, but they're doing great work. So Breathless, definitely snag it. A few more here. We have the new one from AGFA. We have Shaolin Invincibles plus 7-1. And these films are from 1977 and 73. Shaolin Invincibles, Wizards, Gorillas, Blood Spurts. You've never seen a Taiwanese martial arts movie like this one. And I'm just going to say right out of the gate, if AGFA's saying this and if AGFA's putting this out, they are, I'm sure, not exaggerating. They definitely find the most interesting movies of any genre that they tend to release. So excited to check that one out. But it says 2 sword-wielding sisters seek revenge against the villains who murdered their family. But these are no ordinary villains. They're wizards with giant elasticized tongues who use black magic to control kung fu gorillas. Starring the magnificent Judy Lee and the fierce Carter Wong, this supreme basher combines the electricity of a Super Nintendo game with the exceptional fight choreography to deliver an otherworldly experience. And then a second feature, which is another thing I love that AGFA does. When they put out a movie, they sometimes put out a second feature to go with it. An earlier film from the director of Shaolin Invincibles, 7-1, finds Ting, martial arts whirlwind Polly Shang Quan, on a revenge-fueled rampage following the murder of her father, assisted by her rock star samurai boyfriend. Ting rages against all manner of street gangs and malcontents. This gonzo Taiwanese battle epic is filled with non-stop fights, bootleg soundtrack cues, and incredible stunt work from the effervescent Quan. Preserved from the only known 35 print, that's Shaolin Invincibles, featuring Mandarin language with burned-in English subtitles. 7-1, preserved from the only known 35 print in existence, featuring English language dub. Explosive martial arts trailer reel, 27 minutes from the AGFA vaults. That is going to be a blast. They know how to put together a trailer reel, and I'm sure there'll be some more movies I want to check out after I watch that. So anyway, this is the new AGFA, Shaolin Invincibles, and 7-1. Then we have the new Deaf Crocodile release, and this is The Assassination of the Tsar. This film is from 1991 and features the great Malcolm McDowell. And Deaf Crocodile is another label that, in them we trust. They've put out all kinds of interesting films, almost all of them foreign in one way or another. And this one is, let's see, is this in English? I want to say it is. Yeah, English language version of the film. And there's also a Russian language version of the film included here as well. But okay, so The Assassination of the Tsar from Karen Shakhazanarov, director of Zerograd, which they put out previously and which is a fascinating movie. Assassination of the Tsar is a mysterious and labyrinthine psychological drama in which tormented chambers of a patient's mind come to warp everything around him, even folds of history itself. In one of his finest latter-day performances, Malcolm McDowell stars as Timofeyev, a severe schizophrenic in a dreary Soviet mental hospital who is convinced that impossibly he's the killer of two Tsars, Alexander II in 1881 and Nicholas II in 1918. The sympathetic head of the hospital, Dr. Smirnov, great Russian actor Oleg Yankovsky, is determined to cure him of his madness, but instead finds himself literally pulled back through time, inhabiting the ghosts of the past as they march towards their tragic destiny. First ever Blu-ray release of this fascinating time travel mystery features both versions of the film, English and Russian, shot simultaneously on separate 35mm negatives. A Deaf Crocodile and Seagull Films release. So new 2K restorations of both versions. The English is 104, the Russian is 102. New hour-long video interview with lead actor Malcolm McDowell, moderated by Dennis Bartok of Deaf Crocodile. Can't wait to check that out. New hour-long video interview with director, co-writer Karen Shekhazanarov, moderated by Bartok. New commentary by film journalist Sam Deegan, always a welcome addition. I can't wait to listen to that. And a new essay by film critic Walter Chaw, also a big fan of Walter's, and very cool that he's working with Deaf Crocodile. And they mentioned the Blu-ray authoring by David Mackenzie of Fidelity in Motion, so that obviously is a big deal as well. So new Deaf Crocodile release, always look forward to these and have not been disappointed yet by them. Definitely a label that you should be keeping your eye on. I think I made that clear, but just in case, always watch Deaf Crocodile. Next up, we have Gina. This is a film from 1975. It is the new release from Canadian International Pictures, another label that I highly recommend keeping an eye on and collecting. This one is a film I have never heard of, which is often the case with Canadian International Pictures. This one is about, it says, after being sent to rural Quebec to perform at a seedy motel, exotic dancer Gina, the silent partner's Celine Gomez, establishes a friendship with a group of visiting documentary filmmakers and becomes aware of a lecherous skidoo gang hiding out on an abandoned ship. Keenly aware of one another's presence, Gina and the gang develop an antagonistic relationship that eventually leads to a horrific assault. But what these ski-masked snow deviants don't realize is that Gina works for some of Montreal's most dangerous criminals, and they are on their way to enact an ugly revenge. 3 decades before winning the Best Foreign Language Film Oscar for The Barbarian Invasions, Denis Arcand started his fiction filmmaking career with an informal trilogy, Dirty Money, Region Pediovani, and Gina. That remains the high watermark for Canadian crime cinema, improbably fusing labor politics with an explosive exploitation narrative. Gina has a conviction and assurance that resists easy categorization. Part frigid hangout movie, part vicious revenge saga. This is a one-of-a-kind powerhouse that builds to a gruesome climax and the greatest snowmobile chase in movie history. That's big talk, but I am quite sure that they deliver on that. So fascinated by this one. Again, a movie I'm not aware of at all, and I love that Canadian International Pictures is digging out these gems, and they don't seem to be on any pace to stop cranking out good stuff. It says this is scanned in 2K from a 35mm print by Elephant. Memoire du Cinéma Québécois. Audio commentary featuring author, film historian Kayla Janice, and film programmer Justine Smith. Very cool to check that track out. Looking forward to that. The Exploitation of Gina, 2022, 11-minute video essay by Alexandra Heller-Nicholas, another dynamite contributor of special features. I'm a huge Alexandra Heller-Nicholas fan, very much going to enjoy that video essay, I'm quite sure. Directing Gina, 2022, 21 minutes, new interview with director Dennis Arcand, new audio interviews with cast members Gabriel Arcand, 13 minutes, Paula Belargiaran, 8 minutes, Dorothy Behrman, 15 minutes, and Marcel Soborin, 13 minutes. Trailers for Arcand's Dirty Money and the other parts of this trilogy. Booklet featuring a new essay by professor and author Jim Leach. The films of Dennis Arcand and reversible artwork, etc. So very curious to check this out. And then the other films in the trilogy that I'm hoping Canadian will put out, or they are available in some way that I can check them out otherwise. So that is Gina from Canadian International Pictures. And then we have from ETR Media, Golden Era. And you can see that this film is about the GoldenEye Super Nintendo game, which I was a rabid fan of in the mid-90s, and which my friends and I played endlessly on a daily loop for many, many months and maybe years. This is a movie about the game that defined a generation. Made at the birth of 3D gaming, GoldenEye 007 sold over 8 million copies, becoming a defining gaming experience for a whole generation due to its innovative stealth action and gameplay and beloved multiplayer feature. The game was made by 9 university graduates in the middle of the English countryside, a team who had never made a game before. It went on to be a system seller for Nintendo 64 and set the stage for FPS first-person shooter genre to dominate the gaming industry over the decades to come, ushering in a new era of social gaming experiences. They're not wrong. I mean, this game was a big, big deal, and obviously we're seeing the repercussions of it years later. My wife and I still make jokes about slappers only, which is one of the weapon choices you could make when you were playing GoldenEye in the split screen or split screen game. It was so much fun. The maps were incredibly fun. I was just a huge fan of it. So to hear about the team that made this game, who I had no knowledge of whatsoever, and to hear more about the phenomenon of the game itself, as well as its influence and impact, sounds pretty fascinating to me. So definitely excited to check out Golden Era. It has 30 minutes of bonus features that are not delineated on the back, but I'm sure that those are going to be good too. But very cool that this documentary from 2022 available on Blu-ray from ETR Media. And then we have How to Build a Time Machine. This is from Circle Collective. A really nice label there over at the partner OCN side of things. This is from director Jay Cheel, written and directed by. How to Build a Time Machine follows 2 men as they set out on a journey to build their own time machines. Rob Niosi is a stop-motion animator who has spent the last 13 years obsessively constructing a full-scale replica of the time machine prop for the 1960 adaptation of H.G. Wells' The Time Machine. It's his attempt to recapture the memory of seeing the film in theaters with his father. Dr. Ron Mallett is a theoretical physicist whose story begins with that tragedy. He was only 10 years old when his father died suddenly of a heart attack. Distraught, he sought solace in science fiction. After reading The Time Machine, Ron dedicated his life to studying physics. He has since become a professor at the University of Connecticut and is now working on building a real time machine in hopes that he might be able to go back to save his father's life. So that's sort of the plot we're dealing with here. This is a film from 2015. It includes a commentary from director Jay Cheel, deleted scenes, Bob Burns, deleted scene, Marlock, deleted scene, Rob and Ron, it lists out the different deleted scenes we get here. Outtake from student film Obsessed and Scientific, Rob's Chair, featurette How to Make a Time Machine, How to Fake a Time Machine, featurette Machine Tour, featurette Rob's Inventions, booklet with introduction by director Jay Teal, and photos by Ron Mallett and original illustrations by Stephanie Monahan. But Circle Collective has put out a lot of interesting movies, and this is one that I don't know, but I love anything time machine related, and just that idea to me of building a replica from the H.G. Wells time machine sounds fascinating. So I'm definitely on board with checking this one out from Circle Collective. And yeah, very cool stuff. And then last but not least, we have one more from Saturn's Core, Guilty Pleasures. And this is from 1997. Sylvia and Rosemary are two beautiful women with a lot in common. Both are residing in the same luxurious New York apartment complex, and both are trapped within a web of terrifying nightmare. On the first floor, there's Sylvia, who has 3 admirers, an abusive boyfriend, an obscene phone caller, and a police detective with a disturbingly hands-on approach. Could one of them possibly be the notorious sex killer that's prowling the city streets? On the second floor, there's Rosemary, a young ingenue who's attending an unorthodox method acting class in order to prepare for a challenging upcoming role. A trail of blood and bodies begin to follow Rosemary when her mysterious friend, Monica, from back home, begins demanding an unwelcomed reunion. As the insanity of her reality and performance start to intertwine, the curtain raises on a blood-soaked denouement of grandiose proportions. In the tradition of Two Evil Eyes, Guilty Pleasures is a 2-part SOV horror anthology conceived by New York-based filmmakers Joseph F. Parda and Joe Zasso, featuring acting turns by co-director Zasso, Ruby Honeycutt, and Joseph Marzano, plus an awe-inspiring tour de force performance by the inimitable indie legend Sasha Graham. Guilty Pleasures offers an astounding exhibition of head-splitting gore, salacious sleaze, and nostalgic guilty pleasures. Also remains one of the few SOV productions to revel in the stylized, black-gloved aesthetics of 70s Italian giallo cinema. Lots of stuff here that I'm intrigued by, for sure. Audio commentary with actor and co-director Joe Zasso included. A Dangerous Method, an all-new retrospective featurette featuring co-director and star Joe Zasso and actress Sasha Graham. Duly Impressed, an interview with actor Carl Marchesi, and reversible artwork, etc. So, all region, another SOV offering from the good folks at Saturn's Core. So that'll do it for this round of partner label titles. Definitely a lot of great stuff, as there are every month from that section of the Vinegar Syndrome website. Head over there and check out the partner labels tab to see what they have going on right now. And on the first of every month around noon or so Eastern time, they will announce a new round of partner label titles. No new title this month from some of the labels, including VH Shitfest, Dan Kinham's label. So I'm looking forward to next month. I'm hoping we get to see him unveil whatever the next movie he's putting out is, because that is a label I have been fascinated by for sure since their inception. So we'll see what's happening on April 1st. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.